we go. Stand by. 3, 2, 1.
The thinking atheist. It's not a person. It's a symbol. An idea.
The population of atheists in this country is going through the roof.
Rejecting faith. Pursuing knowledge. Challenging the sacred.
If I tell the truth, it's because I tell the truth. Not because I put my hand on a book and made a wish.
And working together for a more rational world.
Take the risk of thinking for yourself. Much more happiness, truth, beauty, and wisdom will come to you that way.
Assume nothing. Question everything. And start thinking. This is the Thinking Atheist Podcast. Hosted by Seth Andrews.
Every once in a while, I guess a few times a year, I go through these bouts where I have a difficult time sleeping through the night. And then after 2 weeks, 3 weeks of getting no more than 5 hours, I just start to get loopy. I start to get loopy, and it's weird because you feel like during the day you're on a caffeine high. Your body feels tired, but it also at the same time feels charged up. Does that make any sense? Your mind is racing, and you feel like that, at least mentally, you want to go, go, go. You got things to do, places to be, goals to achieve. You've got work to be done. Physically, your body is in this weird place where it feels fatigued, but will not be completely at rest. It's so frustrating. A few times a year, I'm working on my third week of not being able to get through the night. I crash 10:30. I've done all the basics. No caffeine after 11 a.m., right? So it's been almost 12 hours since I've had a cup of coffee or anything like that. I'm not doing a ton of sugar. I'm trying to stay active during the day. I've been doing my walks with Linus. We're doing like that little dog and his little feet. I think we're doing, according to my little Apple Watch, 80 miles a month. We go out 4 or 5 times a day. It gets me out of the studio, and we'll just do a block. We'll go around the block. And it has been good for us. But I'm not out running a marathon or half marathon, but we're getting our exercise. I'm trying to get out of the house, plus the other activities that we do. And I don't have bad habits, I don't think. And yet, 3 o'clock in the morning, my eyes pop open. And then you lay there, and then you flip over. And then you flip over again, and then you take the pillow and you flip it over to the cool side, and then you kind of fluff it to try to make sure you got plenty of support on your neck because your neck's kind of crimped. And then the cat comes up because the cat realizes that you are now awake, and the cat wants attention. The dog wants you to hold still, and you just woke up. Now, I woke up, Natalie. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. I'm trying to be quiet. I'm just having a hard time sleeping. Flip. I flip over again. Flip. I flip over again. I look like I'm being basted in the oven. Flip, flip, flip. They say you should never lay in bed more than 30 minutes before you just get up and go do something else. Like if you're in bed more than a half hour and you are not sleeping, get your ass up. Get up. Find something to do. Read a book, watch a little television, grab a bite to eat, whatever. Just don't lay there. So I'll lay there. Usually for me, it's about 30, 45 minutes, and then I get up, and it's been productive time. I'm working on a second edition of Deconverted, my autobiography. Not that my story has changed, because it is not. But, in the last, I don't know how many years, some of the language that I have used to try to communicate a few of these ideas has improved. I have a new foreword from Richard Dawkins, no less. He wrote a foreword for me. And then there's some counter-apologetics arguments in the final portion of the book that I wrote back sort of when I was still pretty fresh out of my faith. And I wanted to go back and enhance that resource for everybody. And to kind of update my perspective on atheist activism as a whole. Just some housekeeping stuff that bothered me about the first run. And I'm very proud of Deconverted. I'm so proud of how that book came out and that it's helped to change lives, but I just wanted to update it. So second edition, so I've been working on it. It'll release later in the fall. And if you've already got the book, don't buy it again. You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it. It's got a new cover. It's got some window dressing that's changed, but I'm not trying to sell the same book twice. Okay. This is just a fresh coat of paint for a potentially new audience as we move ahead. So I've been working on that speech that I'm giving around the country right now. It's called Not Everyone Who Disagrees with You is Hitler. And it'll release to YouTube probably, I don't know, late November, mid to late November. Been kind of tweaking that a little bit, getting ready to give that speech on Saturday night. I'm the keynote at the Colorado Secular Conference. And so, you're always sort of managing your material. And it's amazing the foods that you crave when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm a breakfast cereal guy. Natalie is always on me. Breakfast cereal is not food. Breakfast cereal is not nutrition. You need like fruits and vegetables, and go get you some, we've got some pecans in there and, some organic fresh foods kind of thing. She doesn't actually sound like that. That's the best I can do. I'm like, no, honey, I want Rice Krispies. Cereal is not food. Yes, it is. There are calories in cereal, and you add the milk, and somehow all of this comes together to create kind of a grain dairy symphony for the mouth. Oh, yeah. I'm 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting there munching on my bowl of Rice Krispies, sort of scanning through my phone with the blue light filter on to make sure that I'm not unnecessarily stimulating my brain in a way that will keep me up even further. And, here I am. It's the middle of the night. On, what is the date? The 26th of July, as I get ready to board a plane in just a few hours for Denver. And I packed up all my video gear, and I've got my laptop all tucked away, and I've got all the bells and whistles together, and I've done as much book work as I can do for the moment. And I thought, well, what else is there to do? I'll share these moments with you. I'll share these moments with you as a totally free, totally bonus broadcast. If you're a patron, by the way, you're not being, this isn't this is extra. This is totally a freebie. It's got to be hard for you. If you are a podcast fan, let's say you listen to 5, 8, 10 podcasts, and some people do, and everybody's got a Patreon and they're all doing their shtick, please support me on Patreon. Well, you have a finite amount of resources to do that. I get that. I totally get that. It's got to be tough, because then you have to prioritize and how much and for how long, and we all have our own lives to live. But it really does help. And I'm thankful to those who do support me at patreon.com/Seth Andrews. But it's like beyond the sponsors, it's like YouTube. I used to be able to make a significant amount of income with the videos that I posted on YouTube. And ever since 2017, YouTube's just been a freaking nightmare. I'm looking back at some of the stuff that I've just recently posted. There's a Brian Dalton interview that releases in a few days. It's already got a copyright strike on it because I'm playing some clips from his channel, promoting his channel and linking to his channel. Well, that's now ineligible. Let's see. Classic Christian album covers. That was a fun show. That's been deemed ineligible and demonetized. The interview with Sarah Hayter talking about extremism and liberal values. That's been deemed too controversial for YouTube, at least for the advertisers. We did a show on ASMR. That's been deemed ineligible. What else? It's just crazy. Christian Privilege in America with Sarah Levin at the Secular Coalition for America. We're sorry. That is too controversial. It's been demonetized. Zara K talking about women in the Islamic world. The abortion ruling in Alabama, that's an instant strike. The Nuwabian cult and the young lady named Hannah who escaped it. Nope, that's been confirmed absolutely ineligible. This is like, what does qualify? Anyway, I'm just bitching. Sorry, it's early. I guess at the end of the day, it's just these are first world problems. It's all about perspective. I try to do that from time to time. To try to remember that at least, I could be starving to death. I could have a life-threatening disease. I could have circumstances that have sentenced me rather to a life of misery. And instead, I'm doing what I love with the people that I love, and I'm connected to an audience that has become my family. And I don't really have anything to complain about. Just from time to time, it does get under my skin. Talk about first world problems. I was griping about cell phones in movie theaters. I was talking to Natalie about that. And she thinks I'm amusing because I'm that guy. I'm that guy. We'll be in a movie theater, and this has happened many, many times in my life. And you walk in, and there's a sign that says, please turn off your cell phone. And then you go sit down, and they have announcements before the movie during all the advertising and the whatever they call that preview stuff, 20 minutes of video that plays. Please silence your cell phones. And then the lights go down, and there's another announcement. Please be kind and courteous to others and silence your cell phone now. Cell phones off. Then they do the thing that the Regal cinemas have, that little roller coaster animation that makes me dizzy, and then you go by a sign on it, and that roller coaster sees the sign, and it says, please turn off your cell phone. And then, honestly, just good sense says, shut your freaking phone off. You're in a room with no lights on except for the big screen, and your tiny light really does distract from the big one, right? If you have to take a call or do a text or whatever, just get your ass out in the lobby. This is basic. This is basic. And yet I'll be in the theater, and I don't know, probably 2 out of 5 times we go to the movies, there'll be somebody who just yanks at the cell phone and they just start texting. They're just unconcerned with anybody behind who might be having to look at the bright, white, hot light coming out of their cell phone. And so I'm that guy. I have been known on many occasions. I'm that guy. If you turn on your cell phone in a movie theater, I will be the one who gets up, walks to your seat, looks you in the eye and says, would you please shut that off? And I think this is basic. This is basic, okay? I didn't drop 20, 30, whatever bucks to come in here to the movie theater to look at your cell phone. I'm not saying that movies aren't a communal experience. And so Natalie's like, you're in a public place and people, they're going to do what people do. And I'm like, no, I reject your explanation. This movie theater is my temple. Okay, this is my temple. And when you buy a ticket to go see a movie, you are signing a social contract. You are signing a social contract that says that I will abide by the rules of the theater and be courteous to those other people who have spent 20, 30 bucks or whatever, plus concessions, to come and be a part of it. Now, movies are fun as a communal experience. We laugh together. We scream together. We have this sort of group activity. But cell phones are not a part of it. It just bugs me. And I don't know how many times. I was in Brooklyn once. We were doing a video shoot in Brooklyn, had a Saturday night free. I'm there with my videographer. We went to go see 300 when it released. And there were some guys behind me. They were talking during the movie. Blah, 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 blah. As if there was no one else in the theater trying to enjoy the show. Completely either oblivious or uninterested in anybody but themselves. I just turned around and said, hey, guys, give me a break. They were dead silent for the rest of the movie. And then my videographer friend, he told me the obvious. He's like, hey, dude, we're in Brooklyn. Like, Oklahoma man stabbed to death after accosting someone in theater. Details at 10, that kind of thing. There was one guy, I remember I was in the theater. He's probably in his 50s. Looked like he could have been some sort of a highfalutin professional type. And he was texting. He was just sitting there. And he was standing right in front of me. Sitting right in front of me. And I finally was like, man, could you shut that off? Because it's all I could see. It was so distracting. And he got pissed. He's like, oh, bleh, come on. And and then I responded, are you really that important? Grumble, grumble, grumble. And he put his phone in his pocket. I was at a theater with a buddy of mine named John. John looks like the end of the world. John is the nicest, sweetest guy ever. But at first blush, he's a very intimidating looking guy. A little bit like Aaron Raw. Like Aaron Raw is the sweetest dude on the planet. But if you just go by appearances, when he walks in, usually wearing all black, the only thing missing from that picture is a giant broadsword, right? He looks like he belongs in the film Highlander. Well, my buddy John is a little bit that way. He's got long hair and he's cuts a very imposing figure and he's kind of got that 1,000-yard stare if he wants it, you know. And so those who don't know him, he's very intimidating. But John and I were at the movies and there were these little teen girls in the back of the theater just that little high teen voice thing and absolute obliviousness to the fact that other people, living, breathing human beings, had paid their hard-won money to be in the movie and wanted to enjoy themselves. They just talked the whole time. And I would have gone back there, but honestly, the theater was packed, and I just didn't want to have to go through and navigate. I didn't know if I was going to have to walk through people. So what we did is we stood outside the theater and waited until the movie was over. And I just listened for the sound of their voices. We were just sitting out in the lobby, and as they walked by, oh, there she is. And I just said, excuse me. Look, I appreciate you guys are having a good time, but I didn't drop $25 tonight to listen to the sound of your voice. If you want to talk to your friends, you need to go into the lobby, get out of the theater so that you're not bothering the rest of us, because other people do exist in this scenario, or just something like that. And I had John standing right beside me. John didn't say a word, but even now, and it's probably been a dozen years, even now, they're probably lying awake with their eyes wide open, and they're thinking with terror about John. You know, he's the angel of death. If I talk in the theater, John is going to come and suck out my soul. Yeah, that kind of thing. Natalie's like, you know, when you go out, people are going to talk on their phones. You're just used to watching movies in your house. No. This is my temple. This is one of those things that just bugs me. Just bugs me. And, you know, whenever you're sleep deprived, you are not nearly as well equipped as you need to be able to handle stuff like that, like conflict resolution and crisis and quick thinking and those types of things. When you are sleep deprived, you become a different person in many ways. Everybody reacts a little bit differently. Me, I get testy, not in the way that I'm horrible to people, but my threshold for stupidity and inconsiderate behavior and just awfulness tremendously diminishes. And I don't like that part of myself. I don't like the part of myself that's not kind and filled with good humor. I really do want to be a teddy bear. But I will tell you that there are times in my life when I feel like the tank is empty and life's too short. And there are two sins you commit in my presence. This is how I'm thinking. There are two sins you commit. Don't waste my time and don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Those are the two commandments. Seth's commandments. Two of them. Don't waste my time. Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. And so when you're, then presented with a scenario where somebody is either not getting to the point or they are blowing you off, or they're just unaware, disinterested, they're not connected to whatever situation they're supposed to be connected to, often from in the scenario of an employee and customer relationship. And, I'm not that guy. I'm a big tipper. I understand service-based professions. I always try to make sure I take care of people. I'm not that guy, but we've all run into people who treat other people or reality with contempt. They just aren't getting it done. And it's up to us, the rest of us, to police the herd. We have to shepherd the herd back into some semblance of organization. Hey, you know the basics of your job that you are not doing? Allow me to fill you in on how this might be completed. Okay? Let me help you. Help me. Help you. Yeah. When I haven't slept, I become that guy. Don't waste my time. Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Not a good time to be speaking to religious people, the apologists. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Natalie knows it about me, too. She knows this about me. This is not the time to get a text from Dad. This is not the time to bump into somebody who's like, well, I'm going to pray that you meet the love of Jesus. That's not that time. This is not good. I need a warning sticker, approach with caution. Don't engage. Live to fight another day. That kind of thing. Those are the days that I react the worst to those dumbass stories on TV news where there's a plane crash and 98 people die and 3 people survive, and the newscaster calls it miraculous. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. 98 people died horribly in the flames and the wreckage. 3 people survive and will be scarred for the rest of their life. Jesus could have reached down with his divine hand and lifted the plane from the sky before it ever crashed into terra firma, and this chowderhead newscaster thinks it's a miracle. And I just lose my mind. Natalie thinks it's hysterical. She just looks at me. What's wrong with you? What's wrong? Why does this bother you so much? And I always return volley and say, why doesn't it bother you? Why doesn't this bother you? The plane crash, 98 people dead, miracle. Are you shitting me? Then you got that house chaplain. Oh, what was his name? Let me look it up real quick. The guy who he's a priest. He did a prayer at the Capitol, the U.S. Capitol. He says, oh, here it is. Pat Conroy, in your most holy name, he says, I now cast out all spirits of darkness from this chamber. Spirits not from you, continued Conroy. A Jesuit priest who's been chaplain of the House of Representatives since 2011. And as he prayed, he closed his eyes and raised his hands in supplication. Why is there a chaplain in the House of Representatives? And why is that guy being given airtime? And why is it a specific religion's chaplain? Like if you're going to do the Jesuit priest, you got to do everybody else, right? We're talking about a representative government. We're talking about a non-theocratic secular government. And if you'd like to know more about that, read the book, The Founding Myth by Andrew Seidel, constitutional attorney for the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Why is Reverend Pat Conroy in the halls of Congress by invitation, standing at the podium going, get out, laughless devil? Why is that happening? Why is that happening? And then I get worked up. And people around me are like, oh, God, there he goes again. There he goes again. I want to know what's up with this Boris Johnson guy. Well, what the hell's going on in the UK? Now, we got mass chaos here in the United States. The whole world's looking at us like we've just lost our collective minds. And you then begin to look to much of the rest of the world for a little bit of sanity. And then you look over and you think, Boris Johnson? What? Like if people just thrown up their hands in despair and decided, fuck it. Let's just throw caution to the wind. Let's just start inviting the most oddball people on the planet just to take over, just to see what happens, just to keep it interesting. Carrot Top for president, that kind of thing. Kim Kardashian for Secretary of Defense. Put the cast of Game of Thrones in charge of the military. Actually, I think that'd be a great idea. Like, I would support that, I think. Yeah, but anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. Anyway, I have no point to any of this. I have no reason for any of this beyond I needed to talk. I needed to vent. I needed to pass a few minutes. I needed to express myself as a creative person who has been tumbling through his own house in the middle of the night and now must finish packing so that I might go to Denver for the Colorado Secular Conference. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for being a family to me. Thanks for being the bartender I can talk to, the friend I can rely on, the shoulder I can cry on. I'm so thankful to the fake Jesus for you, my friends. I'm so thankful. I hope you have a wonderful week. The next official broadcast airs in just a couple of days, featuring Brian Dalton, Mr. Deity himself. It's going to be a great one, and I'll see you then.
Follow The Thinking Atheist on Facebook and Twitter for a complete archive of podcasts and videos, products like mugs and t-shirts featuring the Thinking Atheist logo, links to atheist pages and resources, and details on upcoming Free Thought events and conventions. Log on to our website, thethinkingatheist.com.